everyone, it's Angel. It's time for Healthy House Calls with Angel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to anyone who's watching who's on the East Coast of the United States with me, I want to say I hope you had a wonderful summer. I certainly did. It's almost time for fall. Everything's growing very beautifully thanks to all the rain that we've had all summer long. If any of you watching today are gardeners, I wonder how your tomatoes did. My tomatoes did fairly well. They could have been better with more sunlight as we have today, but that's okay because we've got the season of fall coming up and we've got some cool weather crops that we'll be putting in. So it's all good, and you take what you can get when you're a gardener. So I hope you all had a wonderful summer, and thank you so much for sending in such great questions all summer long. I am so excited about what I'm going to be sharing with you this fall because we've had such really good questions. And the one that just came in about a week ago from Benita in Oakland, I think is really timely because it's back to school season for many of us. So Benita, thank you so much for sending in such a great question. And it is, Dear Angel, I follow you on Facebook. I like your posts about making time for fitness and getting in shape. Can you give me some tips on how to make more time for fitness? In the summer, it was easy because I was at the pool with my kids almost every day, but now that school is back in session, it feels impossible. I just can't find the time. Well, Benita, I can certainly relate. As a parent of 2 children, I definitely know what that feels like. The race to get out of the door in the morning, the race to get back home, the race to get dinner done. It can almost feel like you literally don't have time for yourself to even breathe or pause. So I want you to know that that's a very common feeling and certainly a very common question. And to those of you who follow me on Twitter and on Instagram and even on LinkedIn, you know that I'm always posting, tips on time management and things like that. So I just want to jump right into this and say, from the beginning that I can definitely relate. And here's some tips that I've found over the years for me. Here's some tips that I share with my coaching clients who are also parents. And here are some tips that I even share in some of my corporate workshops that I do for wellness and fitness and healthy lifestyles. So from the beginning, you know me, I come from a place of mindfulness, and mindfulness for me just means really paying attention and sort of tuning in to what is going on in my own personal world and my own personal life, and defining what things mean for me, because we're all different. We're all living different lives. So it's sort of not healthy to think about things in the global sense and go by the global consensus, but really take some time to think about our own individual lives and what things mean for us. So I'm a big journaler. I believe in writing things down and coming back to things and revisiting thoughts and ideas and issues and concerns. So from the beginning, Benita, I would recommend, starting a journal if you're not already a journaler. And I would start with, the first thing is defining what fitness means for you. Fitness is different for everyone. Now, if you look at any magazine on the shelf, you'll see, powering down and being in the gym and having gym memberships. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that is fitness for everyone. And it certainly isn't for those of us who, have time constraints. So from the beginning in your journal, just sort of isolate, what does fitness mean for you? Does it mean achieving a certain body weight or a certain size of dress or pants? Does it mean toning up and becoming more flexible? Does it mean just getting moving and, so that maybe you can sleep better at night? Does it mean cardiovascular health or diabetes prevention? Because that's going to be something totally different than someone who's just sort of trying to get some exercise in or get some movement in. So every person is different, and we want to define for ourselves what fitness means. And also, does it mean something that's a short-term goal, or does it mean something that's a long-term life plan for you? For me individually, when my kids were younger, it just meant short-term goals for the day or for the week or for the month. But as as my children have gotten older and as I'm aging, I'm more or less looking at fitness for the long haul. So it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to make it to the gym every single day or to my fitness regimen every day, but I do know that I'm getting something in consistently over the course of, a week or a month or over my lifespan. So in your journal, you just want to spend some time thinking about and defining defining what does fitness mean for me? How do I define that, and what does that look like, and what does that mean for me individually? Second thing, analyze your time. So I'm a big believer in time analysis. I like to know how I'm using my time. And why I say that is because, money is the type of thing that can be replaced. There are lots of different ways to make money. There are lots of different times we can work. We can work days, evenings, nights, weekends, but there are very few ways to get time back. So time is a precious, precious resource. And more so than being mindful about money, we really could be more mindful about time, because it's just something that once it's gone, it's gone. So again, in your journal, what I would recommend doing over the next, week to 2 weeks is really doing a close time analysis and looking at every single minute of the day. We all start with 24 hours. Now, that said, some of us have 16 hours available to us to do whatever we want. Some of us only have 1 hour available of the day out of that 24 to do what we want. But we all do get the same amount of time. We don't make time. So when we use that phrase, how do I make the time? The fact of the matter is you're not going to make it. You're going to take it. And that means looking at what opportunities you have during the day to take the time to do what you want to do for you. So I would recommend using your journal, starting every single day from the time you're awake to the time you go to bed in the evening, and documenting exactly what you're doing. So if it's 10 minutes to make breakfast in the morning, if it's 15 minutes to get the kids out of the house, if it's 20 minutes on Twitter or Instagram, I would recommend documenting every single minute of your day for about 7 to 14 days. When you come away from that, I guarantee you're going to look and see, wow, I've used 1 hour for that, 2 hours for that, 3 hours for that. You're going to see pockets of time that may be readily available to you that you hadn't thought about before. I know when I did this for myself, I was able to see that there were parts of my day that I was, either scrolling through the internet, or I was admittedly using social media, and those were pockets of time that I could have certainly used otherwise to do some of the fitness, get to some of the fitness goals that I wanted to have for myself. So time analysis is really important. Use that space in your journal. Next 2 weeks, week to 2 weeks, map out every single thing that you do, and don't go lightly on yourself on this. You really have to be able to use your critical brain and get that objective data down, because subjectively we all say we have no time, but objectively, once we see that analysis, and that data, we're able to see what we actually do have. Third tip, prioritize pleasure. The exercise that you do is the exercise that you like, right? So none of us is going to, if you're not a person who likes gyms, there's no point in saying, get a gym membership and go to, whatever fitness center and sign up for the spin class. If you don't like gyms, you're not going to go to a gym. It's just that simple. So for me, mindfulness when it comes to fitness means, what are the things that I like? Now, I personally like mind-body practices. I love yoga. I love Tai Chi. And anyone who practices either yoga or Tai Chi can tell you that based on certain modifications, you will get a good workout. So there's no saying that, yoga is not, fitness. It absolutely is if you're under the right instruction and if you're modifying postures and taking your practice up another level. If you like walking, if you like running, whatever it is that you like, you can do that, and that can be your fitness plan as opposed to someone else who, does something differently. But whatever it is you like, that's what you're going to build into your fitness regimen, and that's what you're going to aim to do consistently, even if it's just one thing, because the thing that matters most is the thing that we do consistently. It isn't that we have 10 things to do and we do all 10 of them halfway. It's better when we're doing one thing and at least doing that one thing consistently. So I would say sort of take the pressure off of yourself to feel committed to, anything that's outside of the realm of what you actually enjoy. I would say also, once you do decide on what you like to do, getting that in place, but also once you make that decision and you've got that time analysis in front of you and you can see those little pockets of time that you have readily available, I would recommend having some equipment that would support your ability to incorporate fitness into those time pockets. So here's what I'm saying. I invested a while ago in these wonderful bands that I actually found on Amazon, and I know that they're available in other fitness centers and whatnot. But these help me to get in fitness when I least expect it. So when I am warming something up on the stove, or when I'm just sort of watching the evening news, if I watch it at all, I am able to get my fitness in 10 minutes. So these bands, as I said, I bought these online. They come, in all weight sizes. So I think there's like a 5-pound and a 10-pound, and then like a 20 or 30-pound. They all come in this lovely packet here. And what I typically do, there are lots of instructions in there, but what I typically do is while I am watching the TV, I'm able to get in some really good stretches here, some lifts that help to, tone my arms and things like that. There are lots of different ways to use these bands, but as I said, I use these while the dinner is warming up. I use these while I'm watching the news. I even take these with me whenever I travel because, as I said, they all come in this little kit here, and this readily goes right into my luggage. It even folds down, so I'm able to get this, in my luggage very easily. It doesn't, maybe weighs, I don't know how much it weighs, maybe 2 or 3 pounds, not even that, to tell you the truth. And I take this with me whenever I travel. I'll tell you what, these bands are even good if you take one with you to work. You can throw it right in your work bag, and even at lunch, after you have your lunch, you can get in a couple of sets very easily. I also believe in doing squats while I'm brushing my teeth. You can get in a good 25 squats in the morning. So this is what I'm saying, that when you look at your time and you see what you have readily available to you, you'd be surprised how many things you can actually get in the course of a day that do qualify as fitness. And then the other thing I wanted to say is limit your distractions and consider having an accountability partner. When I say distractions, I think it's healthy for our children to know that we're available to them for the things that they need and things that they want. But we also have our own lives. And I think it's helpful when they know that, I'm going to take this 15 minutes for myself to perform, this exercise, this fitness. I'd love for you to join me, and so that can be time for walking together or doing a couple of crunches together. I think when we do that, we demonstrate to our children the importance of a healthy lifestyle, and children tend to model the behavior that they see from their parents. So get them involved. I mean, if you've got to take care of them in the evening anyhow after school and do homework, maybe, in between different assignments, in between the English homework and the math homework, there can be a 15-minute break to get in a couple of lunges or a couple of, band exercises, or maybe even a short walk if you can manage that. But definitely get them involved, in as much as you're able, because I think children really like that. And it's just great to model that healthy behavior for them. Last point is an accountability partner. So children can be our accountability partners, our partners, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends. They can all be accountability partners. A health coach like myself or a health coach in your area can help you be accountable. I can tell you that with my clients, I always have things in place to help them be accountable to themselves, because if I'm not there for some reason, I'd like my clients to be empowered to be able to look back at their own progress and be able to cheer themselves on for the good work that they're doing. So every coaching client of mine gets a journal. This is the program that I use, TLS, in my coaching for lifestyle fitness and mindful nutrition. This journal actually is well over 300 pages. And I'll tell you, it's got everything you could ever imagine in here, from eating healthy, mindful nutrition tips to accountability pages where you actually record exactly what you're doing for yourself every single day, and you're able to really look back at that. I don't know if you can see this, but you're able to look back at that and see exactly what you're doing and how you're doing every day. In my coaching, with my coaching clients, I also provide workouts. So from week 1 to 3, there's a certain regimen that you're following or recommended to follow, and then 4 to 7, and then 8 to 12 if you're doing a 12-week plan. This is really, really helpful for a lot of my clients who travel a lot and don't have a lot of equipment that they can take around with them, but they do want something that they can readily do in their hotel setting or in their home setting. So those exercises really come in handy. And then one of the things about fitness that I love is that once you start moving and you start exercising, you're automatically going to start wanting to eat better. And that's where you're going to see the biggest results. Because when you're eating better, you're sleeping better, you're moving, it just all sort of goes hand in hand. So I would encourage whatever fitness plan that you choose for yourself, that you sort of think about how you can wrap nutrition around that as well. Again, for my coaching clients, I have a beautiful, beautiful set of recipe books that are, and again, I'm coming from the place of being a parent. These recipes are things made of things that you already have on your shelves. So they're really, really beautiful. They're everything from 21-day challenge recipes. There are appetizers. There are desserts, because we absolutely love our desserts. This is the dessert recipe guide. There are even recipes for vegetarians and vegans as well. So I really like this coaching program that I've integrated into my practice, because it is very holistic, and it takes not just fitness and exercise into things, but also it takes into account nutrition, as well as sleep, and as well as mind-body practices and things like this. So if you're interested in having an accountability partner and getting coaching, I would highly, highly recommend giving me a call or just sending me a message on Facebook, and we can just talk about that through a discovery call very briefly about how you'd like to integrate some of these things into your life. So all of that said, I just want to say that thank you again to Benita for sending in such a great question. We're going to wrap up and just say that, number one, you're going to define what fitness means for you in your personal journal. You're going to do a time analysis to figure out where you've got pockets of time available to you that you may not have had before. You're going to think about prioritizing pleasure and doing exercises that you find enjoyable. So make a little short list of those. You're going to limit those distractions. Try to get the kids involved, or your spouses involved, or friends involved in as much as you're able to. And you want to maybe invest in a little bit of equipment. And as I wanted to say one thing, before you do anything with any equipment, you want to talk to your own healthcare provider to make sure it's safe for you, and make sure that they're on board with what your goals are and whatnot. And then lastly, consider an accountability partner like a health coach or a friend, or someone who can just sort of check in and cheer you on for all the good work you're trying to do to live a healthy life. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this helps. Please leave a comment or send a message to me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is that you find me. And just want to wrap up and say, be good to yourself, because good health starts with great habits, and great habits start at home. So take good care. Tune in for the next episode. It's going to be wonderful this season. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.